Hello, welcome to Insight Live, IT Experts Take. My name is Mike Moore, your host for today, as we talk about software purchasing through the hyperscaler marketplace and unraveling the complexity. So today we're going to talk about what the marketplace is, how it works, some tips and tricks when you're navigating it, and some things to watch out for. So joining me in that conversation, I've got three of our very own subject matter experts here from Insight. We've got Mr. Ken Cox, who leads our marketplace team here at Insight. Good morning, Ken. How you doing, sir?
Doing well.
We also have Kobe Brakefield, who leads our efforts around AWS and the marketplace there, so we can get some really deep insights on the AWS front. Good morning, Colby. And we also have Bob Agno, who leads our software team here at Insight. So Bob, Ken, Colby, great to have you guys. Looking forward to the conversation. And I would say let's dive right in. And Ken, like I said, we're going to start with a definition. So I think I'm going to come to you first. What is the hyperscaler marketplace?
Yeah, certainly, Mike. Thanks for that. I think all customers out there are seeing the marketplace in their daily lives today. You know, you go out to the AWS, Amazon Prime. I'm an Amazon Prime member. I buy just about everything through the Prime by going to that marketplace, and there are a number of, that's a digital catalog of products and services that we can buy. Same thing here in the IT space. AWS, Microsoft, and Google have created a transaction platform that allows our clients, our partners to interact, and ourselves, Insight, is able to support that interaction in a way that provides service and support to our clients to ensure that they get the best possible experience.
Yeah, that's perfect. And I am a Prime member as well. So basically, it's the enterprise shopping list. So looking for software, licensing, anything that's going to support your business from a cloud perspective. So if you need staplers, you can go to Prime. If you need some software for in the cloud, you can go to the hyperscalers. So when we think about using the hyperscalers and we're thinking about procuring software through it, what are some of the benefits or the advantages that may drive one of our clients to go to a hyperscaler marketplace?
Yeah, when you think about the hyperscalers today with AWS, Microsoft, and Google, all three have substantial relationships with our clients across the board. And in those relationships, many times those clients have contracts in place that state that they should consume some amount of cloud services over a period of time. One of the key advantages of using the marketplace is that those clients can procure software via the marketplace, and that procurement will decrement that cloud commit that they have. Now, there are certain rules about how much you can do and which products that you can do, and that's where Insight steps in to help that client understand just what those rules are, what the process is, how to return, how to manage that, and so forth. But that's probably the number one reason why clients will give us a call to say, hey, can you help us with this? Because we're getting close to the end of that agreement, and we've got about $1 million or some amount of money left over, and we really don't want to lose that money, and we'd like to do something with it, and we can help them with that. One of the other reasons is when you're making a marketplace transaction, pretty much your billing is all being consolidated down to AWS as an example. So you may make 20 or 30 transactions. All of your invoices are coming from AWS rather than 20 or 30 different OEM or software publishers. The other thing is really important is many times clients will want to log into the marketplace and try something out. Rather than buying a bunch of product, there's some products that are offered at no cost for a trial period, things of that nature. So they can do something where they just want to try something.
Yeah, and I can add just a little bit to that as well. Again, all great points. Everything's 100% accurate. But if we think about it, sometimes from the world of Insight, we think all of our clients are used to working with us for their software procurement. You think there's startup companies, born in the cloud companies who have just really kind of done everything through AWS or through Microsoft or Google or whoever. And when they go through, say, AWS and they're procuring all of their workloads in AWS, it becomes just kind of a natural, easy motion for them to just then also procure the software that might support that. Obviously, there's benefits of working with an Insight because we've been working with these ISVs for decades. We know how to make this a little more seamless. But the AWS marketplace intention is to kind of act in that same fashion to try to make things a little more seamless for those clients who aren't used to working with a partner like Insight. However, we'll get into, obviously, there's reasons why they want to work with us, and we help support that engagement. But that's kind of the intention as well, is for those who may not have a traditional partner they work with for a transaction, or sometimes their infrastructure teams just want to be able to procure something quickly, test something, like Ken said, it becomes that transaction vehicle to do that, test things, try things out. But that's another reason why ultimately the value of the marketplace as a whole, from a hyperscaler perspective, has really been, and why it's kind of blown up the way it has within the IT space.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that makes
let
total
me chime
sense.
in, Mike, if I could, to that as well, because Ken and Colby make some great points, right? And the marketplace really goes back to what we're seeing in our personal life. Ken talked about using Amazon to buy a sweatshirt or a sweater, right? In our everyday life, we get very used to that. Now we see that more in an IT type of practice. And no matter if you're a very large enterprise customer, you can go and purchase it. Or as Colby was mentioned, even more of mid-sized, smaller team can go in and get that same kind of experience as a mega corporation can. So the marketplace is really changing the way clients procure and purchase software. And that's a great ability and flexibility that they're going to have in the future. It is fairly new to a lot of enterprises. There are some questions there, and hopefully today we can answer a few more.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, and I love the anecdote of consolidation and using your cloud span, retiring that what you have with them. I mean, I come from the cybersecurity space, and I think, Ken, you mentioned 30 something vendors or OEMs that clients have in their environment. And sometimes we see that just on the security side. So being able to consolidate that and work with one entity like an AWS to do all that software purchasing can be a huge time savings, as well as a financial benefit from getting that consolidated billing. So definitely spot on points and resonates well with me. So when clients are trying to understand if it makes sense to use the marketplace or purchase via traditional models, what do we really do, or what are some recommendations we have when it makes sense to use marketplace versus going directly to OEM or a reseller or something like that?
Yeah, Mike.
Go ahead, Ken.
Oh, go ahead, Bob. I can wait.
Yeah, so Mike, what we do is we recommend that our clients talk to our inside account teams to really understand what the options are, right? Many clients have maybe purchased traditionally through Insight directly with us on maybe a certain publisher. Being able to understand what their options are, whether purchasing it direct, going direct to that publisher, or possibly doing a marketplace transaction, I think is really important. And there's pros and cons to every model. And what we ask our teams to do is be able to be an advisor to the client, lay out the different options. As Ken and Colby was mentioning, if you are behind on a commit and you're concerned about losing some of that money, that would be a huge driver to make a marketplace. And we have the ability to do some private offers and customize that order for them through the marketplace, so that the Insight team is involved from start to finish, and can really help that customer make the best decision for them that best fits their business needs.
Yeah, perfect. Ken, you had something you wanted to add there?
No, Bob is spot on that. When we think about the conversations we're having with clients, many times they'll ask us, well, how do I do this? What are my options? And really, when you look at it, there's really a few ways to do this. When we think about our relationship with our clients, which is the most important thing we can think about, is how do we enable the whole account team to be supportive of our customers' needs and requirements. And when you look at the marketplace is just an extension of that team, as Bob said a moment ago. The other thing to remember is that we've had years of experience in working with our ISV OEM software publishers. We have relationships with them. Those relationships are built on trust. Those relationships are built on how we support them and how we bring their products to market. And because of that, we have a lot of expertise. We have people on staff who know those products really well. We have business development managers who support various products. And so when a client comes to us and asks us, how do I do this and how do I do it appropriately, by bringing that whole team effort, our customers are getting the whole Insight team in support of that. Now, that doesn't mean that's the only way. There are other ways to purchase through the marketplace. You can log into the portal, the AWS portal, go click on marketplace, and you can look at products. Just know that when you make that transaction, you are buying directly through the marketplace. And if there's any issues, you would have to go through that system in order to figure out, how do I rectify a problem that you have? How do I manage a return? Can I do a return? Things of that nature. You would have to reach out to the publisher if you have issues, installation issues, things of that nature. So that would be on you to manage. You could work directly with the ISV, and in that case, you would manage all expectations with that ISV or OEM publisher to support you. But again, when our clients work with us, we bring the whole Insight team with us in supporting that. And I think out of everything, that provides the highest amount of value for our clients. And I think they're able to deploy the technology and understand what their options are before, during, and after the sale.
All right. So when we look at some key considerations for using marketplace versus procurement through traditional mechanisms, what are some of the considerations that our clients should make, especially if they're in one cloud or maybe they're in multiple clouds, that would help them with these different buying decisions?
And Mike, I can take that. The customer has many options to choose from. They could do a simple marketplace transaction where they log into the portal, they'll find a product. They may buy quantity 1 or 2 of those products because it was a temporary need. They're probably going to pay MSRP for that product, be able to deploy it, and they're off to the races. Now, the level of support that they're going to get is going to be minimal because it is being done straight from the portal. The other option is they can work directly with the OEM publisher, and the publisher may be involved in some ways to support that. The other one is the one that we focus on, which is they would work and continue to work with Insight in the way they have in the past, but we'll use the marketplace as a platform to support that. The beauty of that is we're bringing in our pre-sales team, our post-sales team, the full operations team, the account team. Everyone is involved in this transaction to make sure that the client is getting exactly what they want and supporting the business needs.
Yeah, I think to add one thing to that, considerations when it comes to the marketplace, and this is again where we can help support, is there's various types of commitments that clients make when it comes to the hyperscaler they work with. Example, AWS, they may have an EDP. In the event of an EDP, there's a certain amount of that consumption can be burned down using marketplace transactions. I know that other hyperscaler marketplaces have other mechanisms around the type of burn down based on marketplace transaction, how that marketplace transaction affects the consumption of that environment. So again, it's things to be aware of. Again, it just adds to that complexity that if they have a commitment, it might be worth exploring marketplace, Insight, the strategy, what that commitment could look like, how we can start leveraging marketplace to fulfill commitment, whether it's at the signing of that contract. Hey, we want to sign a contract. We want to maximize the discounts around this contract. How can we use marketplace proactively to then identify what makes sense to transact there? Or it could be on the back end. Hey, we have this contract. We're several years into it. We run the risk this year of not fulfilling our commitment because of various economic factors, but we know we're already making software transactions. How can we leverage those software transactions in the marketplace to help fulfill those commitments? So those are things to be aware of when it comes to reviewing whether marketplace should be part of the conversation or not, should be part of their strategy overall. And again, to Bob's point, like this is where Insight plays really well. This is what we've been doing for a very long time with our clients, helping them identify a strategy for their software purchases, where it makes sense, and how we can help overall support that.
Hey, Mike, the other thing I want to add to that is not all software publishers are on every marketplace, right? There could be a scenario where this renewal is not on Azure, but it is on AWS, right? So we need to be able to help that client understand where that is. And not all publisher SKUs are on marketplaces. So we got to make sure that that SKU that they have, that they need to renew, is in the right marketplace so they can make the proper transaction for that business.
Well, certainly each of the marketplace has some level of nuance about them. As Bob and Colby just said a moment ago, some products are there, some products aren't, some SKUs are there, some not. I think the important thing for the client to think about is, for that particular item, what is the term of that transaction? For cloud-based technology, generally a 12-month term on those. Sometimes these contracts are set up as 1, 2, or 3 year in term. Payment schedules, things of that nature. We need to talk through the payment model, how they want to manage that. The other thing that's important is with each of the hyperscalers, there are certain rules we have to follow in how we want to amend the offer. Some hyperscalers allow it, some don't. So we have to be careful of that. We speak quite a bit about making sure I often use this thought process, which is I want to measure twice and cut once, because in some cases, with one hyperscaler, once the offer is done and after 36 hours, I can't make any changes. We would have to go back to the ISV to cancel the offer. So it can be difficult in some cases in how we manage those types of things.
Yeah, that makes total sense. And if I got everything that you guys just kind of talked about to sum it up, I mean, it is the easy button for software purchasing, but there still is a lot of thought, design consideration, architecture that goes into the software that you're purchasing on these hyperscalers. So I think Colby did a really nice transition into my next question. So as we're trying to avoid some of these pitfalls, what should our clients really look for in a partner like Insight to help them navigate this complexity? Because obviously there is still a ton of complexity, even though it is an easy button. We're getting consolidated billing. We're able to leverage that spend that we need to in the clouds. But what should our clients really look for in that partnership to help them navigate marketplace and get the most out of their software purchasing?
One of the things when customers are looking at the renewals and understanding what those are, right, there are certain type of transactions that may or may not work in a marketplace. For example, if someone wants to pay a 3-year renewal commitment and pay up front, that may not, transact in a marketplace type of scenario. Planning your renewals is really important when you're thinking about the marketplace and understanding what you can buy down and what you can't in those type of scenarios. Ken, I know you've got some background on this.
Yeah, thanks for that, Bob. Appreciate you bringing that up, because we brought together a team of individuals who support each of the hyperscalers, but we also have very strong knowledge in how we transact business across the traditional model. And by using that, we're able to connect with clients to sit down and look at their committed spend across all the hyperscalers, then correlate that committed spend to potential renewals that they have coming up to help them to use that data to burn down any committed spend across the board. Now, if you take that one step further, as you're thinking about your renewal timeframe with each of the hyperscalers, we can look at that renewal. We can look at other software renewals. We can help you combine them and time them in a way that you can maximize both your consumption spend or your committed or your expected committed spend, as well as renewals coming up over the next 36 months to help you engage with the hyperscalers in a more meaningful way. And we found that conversation has resonated with many of our customers, and they found that to be a distinct advantage in how they want to move forward with their relationship with their hyperscaler, as well as the products that they're going to be procuring over the 36 months. The other thing is renewal perspectives. Our team manages those renewals. And so if you work with us, we track all renewals. We reach out to you at least 6 months prior to the following renewal to ensure that you understand that's coming up, that if there's any changes in what you were consuming, do you want to make changes to make sure we create a new offer in 12 months or 12 or 36 that matches up to what you want. Outside of that, you would have to manage that yourself. So all of that would be at play when you're thinking about how you want to use the marketplace as an environment to transact.
Yeah, perfect. Colby, any thoughts on what to look for?
Yeah, I'd say where Insight really shines is, we're a multi-cloud powerhouse. At the end of the day, we do multi-cloud really well. We talked about the complexities. We talked about all the different things that kind of go into that software transaction, what that could look like. Our job is to make sure we meet the client where they want to buy and where it makes sense. So ultimately, we want to make sure that we can come to the table and help provide a strategy on this is the right transaction path for this is where you can maximize the dollars you'll be able to save, or this path will help you fulfill commitments, or hey, we can step in and we can provide support where going through the traditional marketplace transaction, you won't support. So this is where we can really kind of be that advisor to a client, showcase that we work with all the hyperscalers, we work with all of the ISVs, we have these intimate relationships with all of them, and we can help make this a much simpler process by laying out a strategy on how we engage, how we support them, and how we make sure that their transaction goes the furthest based on the right path of that transaction.
Love it. Yeah. Bob, anything to add?
Yeah, to really double down on what Ken and Colby said, right? The value of the Insight account team is immense. And being that advisor through this really can help that client understand where their drivers are and what can and cannot happen. We've had situations where clients have wanted to do a 3-year agreement and buy it all up front. Can that transact through a marketplace, right? So there's a lot of nuances. Pricing may be different. SKUs may be different. So we want to make sure that customer is really understanding those nuances before they're just clicking a button and going, because they could make a mistake and the return policy could be different. So we like to be able to work with clients, give them that understanding, make sure they have all the information. So again, they're making that right decision. And Mike, too, I also want to mention Insight is very strong in FinOps. And when clients are talking about future commits and trying to plan for net new consumption, Insight is very strong in working with clients in a FinOps type of environment, helping them with those future commits, future Azure, AWS, GCP goals is something that Insight is very strong at and can be a huge value to clients as they go through that process.
Yeah, that's super powerful. Awesome. I love it. Yeah, and I mean, you guys did an amazing job. Obviously, we have a wealth of brain power on the show today to talk about Hyperscaler marketplace and software purchasing. If anyone's listening at home still has questions, is wondering how to get started in the marketplace, feel free to reach out. Go over to insight.com, send us a note. We will be more than happy to continue this conversation with you. Bob, Ken, Colby, I really appreciate your guys' insights today. As well as taking the time to have this conversation. So with that, I will thank everybody for joining. And until next time, enjoy the marketplaces. Thank you.
Thank you.